Hi there, guys. All right, so let me get all my computer pulled up so that I can see everybody's messages. Hopefully today Facebook doesn't go down again. Did everybody enjoy the 5-hour break? I think it was 6 hours here, but 6-hour break from social media yesterday. How many of you went and got on TikTok? It was kind of funny, kind of. It made me lose my mind mildly. Hi, Jan. So hopefully today it won't do that. So today we're going to be working on a cute little lantern. And this lantern is from Semi-Sweet Mike. Hi, Tracy. Wasn't it crazy? And it was funny, like I went live yesterday morning. It seemed like everything was fine. And then as soon as I got off, I tried to upload something else and nope. Maybe I crashed it. Sorry, no, just kidding. So this cutter's from Semi-Sweet Mike. If you don't follow him or you've never bought any of his cutters, go check him out. Again, it's Semi-Sweet Mike. I think his name is Mike Tomplin. Super sweet guy, obviously. He has some really cute cutters. He always puts out cutters, every holiday usually, but his cutters are a little bit different in that they're like not super simple, but they're simple to make, but they're always so cute. He has all sorts of tutorials on how to do his cookies and how to make them and create them. He is a royal icing user, so he uses the bottle method, but you can definitely follow his tutorials with Glaze. But I really like his cutters. I've bought quite a few of his cutters. He always sends really cute little stickers that go with his cutters. I have several of his stickers. And his cutters are very nicely made. They last, they stand up. His marketing is beautiful. So I love it. Oh, Debbie, I'm so jealous. The Balloon Fiesta. Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful there. It's on my bucket list of things to do. Good morning, Pam. So today we're going to be working with the lantern. I bought this cutter along with several of his other cutters for his fall set, just because I thought they would be a really cute class. So I got this cutter and I got the pillow. I have them all right here. So I got the scarf or blanket. I thought it could be both. And then I got his coffee cup and his 2 candles and his pillows. And I also got the lantern, but I also got a hexagon that has a floral, like a sprig around the bottom, kind of like this one does here, but it's a hexagon. So far, I've already used that hexagon so many times. It's what is my profile picture right now for CR Confections. So I can see that one being used several times. You could put all sorts of things in the middle, just like this one. I feel like this lantern can be used for pretty much every holiday or every season. So today we're going to make it a little bit more like a lantern and not so much like a decorative accessory. So I figured our witch needed a lantern to go trick-or-treating. So I cut out the lantern and baked it. So this is just a naked cookie, but kind of had the idea over the weekend. I was kind of thinking about these cookies and I thought, you know what? These are cookies that I wouldn't normally make for an order or for customers. These are more artistic cookies that I would say, that I'm showing you. So this one I was like, we're going to use isomalt. I don't use isomalt very often, but I really like using it. And when it comes to things with glass, I like to make it. So you can use isomalt to create any sort of glass thought. Now, in our cookie club, we did make lanterns last Christmas to go on our porch scene, and they turned out really cute. This is going to be kind of that same concept that we used in the club. I'm going to cut out before I bake it. So this one wouldn't work because it's already baked, and there's no way that you can really do this without hurting this cookie. But before you bake it, so I had to rebake them. Before I baked it, I basically cut out a rectangle where the lantern face would be. Okay. So before I baked it, I cut out a rectangle and then I baked it. And then you have this blank space. When you bake things like that, you guys can already tell that, like, if I were to cut this out, I'm just going to mark it up. So let's say I cut here and along here. And obviously you could make this more exact so that you make it look, more exact. So if I do this, if I cut this out before I bake it, when you bake it, these sides, because they're so skinny, are going to tend to like fall inside or kind of move to the inside. So you have a couple choices, and I've done this a couple different ways. I didn't do it on the cookies I'm going to use because they actually turned out okay, but if I were to redo it, I probably would do it this way. So you can either leave that piece of raw dough in the middle there, and then just when you go to, take it out of the oven when it's done, because you've already kind of cut it, it should come out pretty easy. You might have to take a knife and kind of score it again, but you should be able to take out that middle piece, and just careful. Like these two things right here are super fragile at this point in time. So leaving this piece after you've cut it, leave that piece in there. And then when you take it out, when it's done baking, try to quickly take that little piece out. And then that way that will help keep your little sides, your skinny sides, nice and straight. You could also fill it if you have anything that you do with pies. Like if you have pie beads, you could put pie beads in the middle here. So you could take out that piece raw and you could put pie beads in. I think beans would work. I know I've used beans before. So if you have some like dry beans, you can put dry beans and just fill up that crevice. That just allows those little pieces to not like fold in because they get hot. So anything to help you keep that. You could also cut it, just leave it, bake it like this, take it out of the oven, and then you could just cut it out when it's really, really hot. That is also another option. I just find that when I do that, I tend to break it. There always seems to be this place where it just breaks. So I would either cut it out first and then, put the beads in, or leave that little piece in. So just a little word of like, if you're going to do this for anything else, if you wanted to do like if you wanted to do like a front windshield on a truck and you wanted to cut, or a little door on a little truck, or a lantern or anything like that, you just want to try to keep things, if it's got tiny little pieces, you want to keep those from like rolling in. Okay. So just a little tip. Okay. So here is the lantern. Now I had to do this in kind of different steps. So we're going to talk about everything, but this might look weird. So this is the lantern with the piece of isomalt. It's melted in there. Okay. So I did go ahead and put my candles on, and notice I piped them from the back. So that they looked like they were behind the glass. Okay. So you could pipe them on top of the isomalt here and make it go that way. Hi, April. But I wanted it to look like they were actually in the lantern, like behind the isomalt glass. So I piped them from the back, and I'm going to show you how to do all that. But just so that you know, I kind of jumped ahead a little bit on this one. I don't know why. I don't know why I did it. I just did. But that is how you can create kind of a lantern, like a glass look. And isomalt, the two companies that are out there, you got Simi Cakes and you've got Cake Play. I'm sure there's more. I think you can even buy isomalt at Hobby Lobby now. Isomalt is pretty easy to work with if you can keep in mind, it's hotter than hot. So there is no getting away with a tiny little blister when you work with when you work with isomalt. It is boiled sugar. So you guys all know the concept of boiled sugar. So if you are uncomfortable using it, buy some heat-proof gloves. Simi Cakes has a great starter set that comes with a little measuring cup and the gloves and the silicone mat and some of the isomalt. So you're all ready. Always, for me at least, I always use silicone. So I have a little silicone measuring cup that I use. Always follow the directions on the package because you can burn it. So if you cook it too long, you will burn it and you have to kind of throw it away. The nice thing is you can always reuse the isomalt. So if you make something or if it gets too hot in your silicone, you can reheat it and do it again. So it's really nice. Oh, thanks, April. Oh, I love that you have a dog bakery. It's so cute. I love it. Yeah, I don't. So isomalt is totally edible. Isomalt is a sugar alcohol. So isomalt comes with a warning that it does upset your stomach. And I am definitely one of those that I cannot eat any part of it before my stomach just decides that it doesn't like it. So if you're ever making these for clients, because it is edible, 100% edible, there's nothing wrong with eating it. You do want to make sure that you warn your clients like, hey, that could upset somebody's stomach. Plus it's like hard candy. So again, I don't normally make these for clients to sell. These are just for fun pieces to do for myself or just for showcasing, just for having fun. Not to say you can't do that, not to say you can't sell it, not to say that, clients wouldn't love it, but you might want to put a little bit of a disclaimer on those if you do sell them, like, hey, this could upset your stomach, okay? So I just cut that out. You can kind of see where the side kind of rolled in a little bit. This one was a little bit thicker than the one that I'm going to work with here in a minute. But you can see it kind of moved in, and had I left that piece in there, it probably would have been a little bit straighter. But I did leave these sides a little bit thicker, whereas the other one that I've already kind of worked on, they are way thinner. So they didn't turn out as great. So I like this one better. But you live and you learn. But I thought it was a cute addition. You can put anything on top of isomalt. If you want to, you can use the PME edible glaze spray. A lot of people use this on like those shaker cookies. And this just seals the isomalt so that it doesn't get sticky. Because if you have any humidity in your house, which I do, the isomalt will continue to stay sticky. So if you think about making those shaker cookies, they have usually two pieces of isomalt. They have a back piece, and then people put sprinkles in, and then they have a top piece. And then those sprinkles can move freely within the isomalt panes. But if you have any sort of humidity, it will, and even the humidity, the wetness from your cookies will affect the isomalt. So you kind of have to think of it like a clear coat. You have to like clear coat your isomalt in order to keep the sprinkles from getting wet any sort of way. So that PME clear edible glaze spray is what most people use. And you just spray it on your isomalt once it's dry. And you spray it on there, and then it just makes your isomalt not be sticky, okay? It does, at least for me, it gives this like kind of matte finish to the isomalt, which it is what it is. You can still tell it's, it's pretty, it's sugar, it's glass. So I just, sometimes I hate using it because it just kind of gives this like weird look to it. And the other one that I'm going to work with, especially last night when I sprayed it and I came in this morning, kind of had turned it like this weird smoky color or like white, cloudy. And I was like, that's not what I want. So I tried to fix it. And I don't know I did, but it's okay. So if you want to seal it up, use that PME glaze spray roll, up high, kind of like you would think about, like you're just putting a nice thin coat. Don't hold it down real close. So all of that. What's Janie say? Good morning, Janie. I know I love Halloween. Okay. So that's just a little bit about isomalt. Also, another little tool for isomalt is a butane torch. You can use a lighter. I've done that before I got my butane torch. But the butane torch just helps to get out any bubbles when it's wet. It helps to take off anything, like I took off the thing. But it gets super duper hot, so it melts the isomalt very quickly, whereas a lighter takes a lot longer to melt. So just kind of know. But it's nice to have that. Once I got it, I was like, yeah, I see why everybody has a butane torch when working with isomalt. It just helps to do things quickly when you need, to fix things. Okay. All right. So we have our little lantern. I'm going off of, I think I put them back. I'm going off of one of the little stickers that I showed you guys yesterday for the like natural Halloween witchy Halloween set. So I'm going to put some greenery down here, kind of like what Mike had put on his picture. But I'm going to put a mushroom in the middle because mushrooms are really big with this set on these stickers. So I'm going to try to incorporate mushrooms into some of these things, okay? So I figured some leaves would go here and a mushroom could go right in the middle. And you could always just pipe on a mushroom. I went ahead and went a little extra and I went and made one out of fondant. So again, you could use edible clay. If I were selling it, I would use edible clay, not fondant. So I just made a little mushroom. It didn't take too long. It was just the fact of trying to form it so it would be flat. I didn't want it to be a rounded mushroom. I wanted it to be more flat so it can lay up against it. But so I did work a lot with the fondant already laying flat and kind of shaping it that way so that it would continue to stay flat. But yeah, it was really fun to just kind of make this. I just kind of made a cute little mushroom, little spots. It's got a little tail on it, or a little, stem on it. So super cute. You could definitely paint this if you wanted to. I might paint it later, but right now I kind of like the red. It's kind of an uncommon color, but I think it'll be cute. So what we have to do to the cookie right now is we have to get it actually iced with the black. Okay, so I am going to use a little bit of Frankenfrosting to just do the outline. And I would say, even if I were doing this just in general, because these are so, I really want them to stay where they are. I don't want any of the glaze moving. I don't want it shifting onto the side. I really want it just staying where it goes. I would use detail glaze or Frankenfrosting, whichever one. I would use either one of those at that time also, not just right now. So I'm just going to kind of go down and create these little sides. And you can pipe right on top of the isomalt, however you want to do that. So I'm going to try it a little differently on top of the isomalt. The other one is not on top of the isomalt. And the nice thing about that is you can kind of cover up where your cookie dough has kind of like come in. So you can always cover that up with some icing. My voice is cracking today. Sounds strange. And I'm going to go ahead and just outline the rest of this part. Because I can go ahead and fill in all of this too. Because it's all going to be kind of one piece, right? Hi, Sandra. Okay, so this is just, oh, you're welcome. So this is just regular glaze. It is a little bit lighter black. And if you're worried about craters right here on these two sides here, I think they're thick enough that it'll be okay. You could put a little squiggly, like if you wanted to, you could put a little squiggly underwire, under that if you felt like, oh, it might crater. I feel like when you do kind of around the whole thing, it doesn't normally crater for me. Now, that's not to say that it won't crater. It just normally doesn't. So, but if you're nervous about it and you really don't want it to crater, then by all means, make sure you put something underneath of there to help with that. Okay, so then I'm going to just fill this in. And of course, you would need to let this set for, a couple hours before you pipe on this next part, if you wanted it to be separated. So if you really wanted to show that this is a separate part of the lantern, they are not going to go together, then you have to wait a couple hours before that happens. And then I'm just going to use the Frankenfrosting to create the handle at the top here. And I'm just kind of going slower. Okay. This is just our handle for our lantern. You could put, you could make the handle a little bit smaller, and you could put something like setting on top of it, or you could create like a bat out of fondant. And you could put that bat kind of sitting on top. You could use sprinkles if you have sprinkles that are those shapes, and you could put it sitting on top or even on top of the lantern. That would be super cute also. So at this point in time, I would just let it dry for a little bit and then come back and do that top kind of part to the lantern, put that on there. On his picture of the lantern, he had two cross lines put on there. If you wanted to do those cross lines, you definitely could. You could go ahead and put those on there. I'm going to leave those off because I do want the candles to kind of come through. And I feel like with the mushroom at the bottom, it's going to go ahead and take up quite a bit of that space. So, but you do want to let this dry. If you don't want to have naked cookies showing behind your leaves, then you could also flood this in white, and that way your leaves would kind of be a little bit more defined. Again, I'm going for more of like a natural witchy kind of theme for this week. So I kind of like the thought of naked cookies being behind there because that's more natural. But if you're wanting it to be white, you could definitely do the whole thing or do these parts white so that they would kind of show up. Yesterday we used white to make sure that we had a brace for our skull and things like that. There's really nothing to brace here, so you wouldn't necessarily have to do that. So spooky cute. I know, isn't it cute? Okay, so I'm going to move that one off to the side, and then I'm going to bring the one that I did yesterday, or that I've already kind of frosted or iced. So this one's already been iced. You guys can see it's way thinner. You can see these are way thicker than these. So this was the one that if you flip it over, first of all, I burnt the cookie, but second of all, you can see how it really curved in, okay? So it definitely happens. I did burn the cookie also because I couldn't find my torch yesterday. So I did burn it. When you use a lighter, you always take the chance of burning it because a lighter always has a bigger flame than the torch. A torch is just direct flame, whereas a lighter has more. So if you ever do that and you don't want that on there, you just want to take a cookie. I was going to take this one. So you can always just take a naked cookie, and all you do is you rub it together. You basically like sand it off. So you can just kind of do it like this, and you can kind of sand it off, and it sands off that blackness. You can do the same thing if you have, if you get airbrush, like if you accidentally airbrush a little too much, you can always take another cookie and just kind of sand it off, and you guys can see it kind of removed wherever that was. I'm not too concerned with it because it's going to be covered up with leaves, so really it doesn't matter, but I did want to show you that. It's a little bit of a trick. So again, if you get too much, you can take another cookie. I usually have just cookies, that I've made that I use, and so I just can kind of take those and rub it. So I have flooded and iced my whole lantern, even this top part, and now I'm going to paint it. So I'm going to use that same paint, or disco dust. It's not disco dust. I think it's petal dust. And like I said yesterday, I wouldn't necessarily use this if I didn't know what exactly it was, but I also feel like it wouldn't be in my cookie room if it wasn't edible. I tend to not buy stuff that isn't, edible. So I'll have to figure out what it is. But anyway, it's like a black, shiny dust, and it works well with alcohol. So that's nice. But I just wanted to give it kind of the metallic look. So if you wanted to go silver, you could go silver. I do like this stuff because it tends to kind of like look kind of, I don't know how to like it. Oh, thanks, Melissa. It like has this ability to make it just look old and like almost matte. Maybe that's the word. It just makes it look kind of old and matte. It makes the icing not look shiny anymore. And even though it has glitter in it, because like I can see the glitter in the paint, it still just gives it this like old timey look. So I really am happy with it. I'll have to figure out what it is. And I know I've said it before, but like I would never give this to a client if I didn't know what was actually in that. But again, I feel like if it's in my cookie room, then I know that it's probably. So I don't know if you guys can see that online, probably not, but I just wanted to give it a little bit of a old kind of like old, and again, you could do like gold, you could do silver, you could definitely make it kind of more spooky. Not really spooky, but you could make it more bright and have it go with like gold. I think that would be really pretty. So now to put on the candles, what I'm going to do is pipe the candles on first. And remember, I'm piping the candles on the back of the cookie. I just want to make sure that's dry, and it's not. So I want to put it on the back of the cookie. I'm going to use the Franken frosting partly because it will dry really quickly, and you don't really want a lot of liquid on this, on the isomalt. You don't want a lot of water. Plus, I want it to be pretty fairly quickly. So I'm going to pipe basically a really thick candle. And I'm going to pipe this candle a little bit bigger than the last one, than yesterday's. And then I'm just going to use my scribe to kind of pull it out on the corner so that it looks like a candle. And down here also, just to make sure it looks like a candle at the bottom. And then I'm going to go ahead and pipe on the next candle, but the next candle, I'm going to make it a little bit shorter. And I might go back in and pipe another round. And it really doesn't matter what these look like from this side. I just want them to look squared at the top. But you don't really have to make sure that everything is completely flat. Let's go a little bit. There we go. Okay. And then when you flip it over, you have these candles that are from the back. Okay. I'm going to continue to keep it down so that they have a little bit of time to dry, just a little bit. And then I'm going to pipe on a little wick. And this will be where my flame is going to be. I've never tried painting on isomalt with like paints. So no, I haven't. So that might be an option too. I would venture to say I think you probably could paint on the isomalt, even if you just use poppy paints, because poppy paints, like we talked about yesterday, are super opaque and permanent. So if you wanted to paint them on, if you had some poppy paints, it might work. I'm not 100% sure of that. I've never tried that, but it might work also. Okay. So to create the flame, what I did, because if you think about our flame, it can't be rounded on here. So I had to pipe some candle flames onto a piece of parchment paper, and I have to use the back side because I want that to be flat against the isomalt, right? Because if we try to put this rounded layer there, it's not going to work, right? So I just have these little candle flames, but I have to work with them from the back side. So this gets a little tricky. You do have to kind of hold on to them because you're trying to deal with something that has this tiny little, very dainty top to it. And if they break, they break. Obviously try to have more than you need. I just piped these and then thought I probably should have done a few more, but that's okay. So I'm just going to take some yellow and put it at the base. So I have to kind of hold on to them very carefully, and I'm just using water. The nice thing about flames is they don't take a whole lot, I'm just going to do yellow and orange. So I'm just going to put some yellow at the bottom of all of them. They are kind of a pain to hold on to. You could probably use tweezers. Okay, and then I'm going to take this same paintbrush and just use some orange. It does help if you have a little bit more water on your brush, just because it just allows you to kind of really do it fairly quickly, as long as they are being nice, you know. And you don't have to get too crazy with this, okay? Because these are going to be through your glass. You're not going to see, if you put a lot of time and effort into these flames, you're not really, I mean, you still see them, but they're not as visible as you think they are. So you don't have to spend a whole lot of time on the flames. You just want to basically get them done and get them, you know, not spend too much time getting a lot of water on those. Okay, what does April say? Yeah, and that might work as well. You might, I would think oil paints would work. The only thing I can think of that would cause it to not work is that the isomalt is, if you haven't sealed it, or you know, with that spray, then it is a little sticky. So, and any water that you add to the isomalt is obviously water that you're taking away and you're distorting it because it's water soluble. So anything you would use, that's why I was thinking poppy paints would work, I think, because they dry so quickly. They're alcohol based, so there's little water. And I would think probably those oil paints would probably work also, same concept. So all sorts of things to try. So now to put on the flames, you can do a couple things. You could get it wet, like a little bit, take a little bit on your paintbrush and put a little bit of water just in where you're going to put that flame. Because you've gotten that part wet. And I have to use tweezers for this. So get it a little bit wet. Sorry for my reach. Now, whatever you get wet is also going to get this icing wet. So just kind of know that. And I think that will stick. I did that last night and it seemed to be just fine on those. The other thing you can use, I always misplace this stuff. The other thing you can use is this edible cake glue from Little Honey's Cakery. You can put a little bit of that down because it's clear. So you can put that down and then take your little flame and stick it in there. And the other thing is just to put, you could just stick it into your royal or your glaze or whatever icing you used for the candle, and you could just stick it in there. But I kind of like the glue that the Miss Honey's has. That tends to work the best. It does take a while for it to dry, so it doesn't dry like right away. So I have definitely learned that using that. Don't try to move stuff right away. It does take a little bit of time. I'm talking to the camera again. It does take a little bit of time to dry. So those are not going to dry on there right away. Don't you love it when you, but see, super cute. This is the isomalt that it was a little bit distorted. So I took my torch and it has this like concave look to it now. It's kind of bubbled in the back. But you know what? I think it's cool. I say this all the time, but sometimes the mistakes that happen, you're like, great, that's not what I wanted to happen. But in this situation, it's a lantern. I want it to look old and like, you know, like it's 700 years old. That's what I'm going for. So the situation that happened with all of that definitely helped make it look old. All right. So now thinking about what I'm envisioning happening with this lantern, I definitely want the leaves in the background with the mushroom basically sitting on top right here. So I'm going to again take this Franken frosting that we used yesterday for the leaves in the steam on the, what was it called? Cauldron. Whew, my brain. So I'm just going to pipe on that same concept of just a big dot pull down. I'm just going to use that same concept in this situation. And because I don't, I'm going to move this off of this turntable. Sometimes turntables are great, and then sometimes they cause more problems because my cookie will turn, and I don't want it to turn. So I'm just going to do this part first, and then I'll start to think about like where I want to place my mushroom. So I'm going to do these first. I did do another one. Okay. Okay. Ow. I need to overlap them more. It's been so long since I did like cable knit or anything where you have to like overlap. I have caught myself now. So now that I've got the leaves on, I'm just going to kind of see where my mushroom is going to go. So I wanted to go right in that area there like that. So I definitely would like to put some more greenery down here. So I'm going to kind of flood this, and then I can put maybe some little leaves just to kind of add some greenery to it. Okay. And I could probably put like a bigger leaf here, and maybe a big leaf here, just to kind of give it some fun. Because the mushroom's going to go right in between those. So, and to put the mushroom down, I just want to put a little bit of something down. So I am going to use this Franken frosting. I'm just going to kind of put some down right here, just because that seems to be what is behind everything else. You could use that cake glue again if you wanted to. I'm just going to use this. And just going to set it there. If you have like this moment right now, I would like to take this and stick it up. I would like for this mushroom to kind of be up a little bit. So you can always use scribes or whatever to kind of help you keep things up a little bit so that they will, set up a little bit. But how cute is that? Love it. And then you can always move things around. The nice thing about fondant, I will say, is it's still, even though it's drying, it's still a little bit malleable. So you can kind of push things in and they kind of move a little bit. But I'm going to take this out for just a second so that we can see it from it's done. So cute. I love that. Oh, so cute. So this is like the perfect little lantern for our witch to carry around trick-or-treating. It's got our nice little mushroom on it. So cute. It's got the nice glass on it. It's got candles back behind, see-through. Love it. Yay. So I hope you guys enjoyed today. And I will take pictures of this one as soon as I can get it dry and that kind of stuff. Probably finish up the other one too. And I'll put something else on the other one. So maybe a crystal. I like crystals. Okay. So I hope you guys had a great time today. I hope you enjoyed this one. Again, this is from Semi Sweet. It's his lantern cutter. It's a great cutter to have in your little arsenal. I can think of about 1,000 different ways to use it over the next few months. So cute. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I will see you again tomorrow for the next day 6. So I hope you guys have a great day today, and I'll see you then. Bye.